tuning in our second episode, Life with Keish, and I'm Keish.
I'm Niche, and this episode is going to be all about us, the moms.
Woo! So, if you haven't tuned in on our first episode, we advise you to go there where you can get on our social medias, hit us up, and also be able to send us all type of comments or topics. And then we'll talk about it. We're going to have a designated time frame where we talk about each little topic and we can give you some
Hmm.
insights on life and with Keisha Niche. Okay?
Okay, so let's get into it. You
Let's
want to
get up
start
in
off,
there.
Peach? Yes, let's talk about
Yes,
these
so first and
moms.
foremost, we want to start talking about, it's all about the moms, but we want to talk about how hard it is being a mom because moms, we be life it. For real. So, anyways, but yes, it is so hard being a mom. I mean, from birth to now to lifetime to eternity. All about getting to know, the kids, even though you birthed them, you still have to get to know them and have those relationships with them. To get to know what they like, what they don't like, handle situations, how they don't. And that is a balancing experience in itself. Because first of all, I don't know if I mentioned this on the last episode, but I'm a Libra, so my scale always have to be balanced. So which means that I tend to, when I do one for one, I do the same for the other. But sometimes it is not going to be that way. So I'm still learning as a parent, and because some might, one of them kids handle a situation a little differently from the other. And I have two girls, so they're still, they do everything like twins anyway, but they're not twins. Like they need their identity. So the part of that, is, balancing out that, like I say, you can't always do what you do for the other. You just have to
Hmm.
balance it because one may not need it and the other may. So, and that's in a lot of situations. And I got to think about those things. So when they become adults, one might be like, you know what? I don't need help, mom. I could do this by myself, but the other one may. So, but you can
Hmm.
still balance it out by helping them in other areas that they need help in. So that's why it's so hard, being a mom and balancing those because growing up, I was always thinking like, hey, well, why are you doing this for that one and not doing it for me? But it taught me also my, determination, my independency, and doing things my way and for myself. So
Hmm.
it's a teaching lesson, and that's all we're here for is to guide and help guide our little ones because at the end of the day, they still need that respect. They still need to be, taught to do those things that they need to do and be able to be, great. Not parents. Well, parents in the long run. Okay, I'm not gonna
Hmm. Hmm.
listen. I'm too cute and too young to be grandma right now. But basically they are just they're learning from the adults. You have to show them, and then they'll take that accountability and apply that to their life, how they want to do it.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's how hard it is.
I
What's your
must say,
perspective?
I mean, like you said, it definitely is hard because nothing. I don't feel like nothing can prepare you for motherhood in general. Like you get all kinds of advice and stuff. Like I remember different people telling me different things. Like even when I was pregnant with my oldest, like telling me, trying to give
Mm-hmm.
me different advice on things. But like you said, like they're their own people, and I have two boys and a girl, in my household, and each one of them are different. Like my oldest, he's more sensitive, so it's like I kind of like got to treat him a little different or handle him a little different when it comes to like disciplining or just dealing with him in general, as opposed to
Right.
like my younger son or my daughter. And my daughter, she's the firecracker of the three. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like
Girls
she,
are.
yes, tough as nails, the bossy one, wants everybody what to do. So it's like, but like I said, like you said, they're their own people and they have their own personalities. And that even goes back
Yes.
to like you said with me growing up, because I used to think like, well, how come I'm getting this treatment and they getting away with this and stuff, and like me being the
Yes.
oldest, my parents was more strict on me than they were with my siblings as they came along.
Mm-hmm.
But it helped me, like you said, understand as you become a mom. It helped me understand, like, okay, I understand why they may have did things different with them than me because our personalities and stuff are different. Like me and my
They
siblings.
are.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so it's like you gotta treat them as an individual and not as just because they're siblings, like that you know they're going to act the same or do the same things. I mean, it's just like, you know, if you're growing up with someone who, like, you're growing up with an alcoholic parent and one might
Mm-hmm.
decide to be an alcoholic and follow the footsteps, and the other one might decide not to be because of how it affected them. You know what I mean? So they
Right.
definitely are their own person, and it definitely does play in, you know, their own personalities. So, but it's
Yeah, but
definitely hard. It's
I
hard.
mean, you giving all the tea. We can't go too deep up in there because that's going to be on our next episode. You know, when we start talking about the dads.
You know what I mean? But I mean,
But
it could be
yeah,
for moms too, because you know it's not just dads. It could be, you know, a mom
true,
could be
true.
alcoholic or, you know, a drug addict. So it goes both ways. But
Yeah,
that's what makes it hard, because you're trying to, you know, dive in and cater to each child. And it's like you said,
right.
nothing prepares us for it. You can take all the advice in the world, but once they get here, all that stuff could go out the window.
Yeah, it
So,
does.
like my
It
kids,
does.
yeah, because I'm like, my kids didn't even use pacifiers, and I'm like, you know, I don't even know if I had a pacifier growing up. I don't remember, but like my none of them wanted pacifiers, and I would see, like, you know, my friends with their kids or my sister with her
Mm-hmm.
kids, and they would take it, and it
Mm-hmm.
was like my kids would spit that out. They didn't want nothing to do with it, so I just had to
That
learn
was
how
good.
to. I mean, it was good, but then I had to learn how to. I guess it increased our bonding, because instead of just throwing the pacifier
Yes.
in your mouth when they're crying, now I got to actually,
Mm-hmm.
you know, figure out what's wrong with you and cuddle and, you know, cater to your
Right.
needs and stuff. So it made it
Yeah, I
hard,
did that
you
too.
know, because I was still trying to
Yeah.
work, and, you know, you're still trying to work and
Yeah.
adjust to mom life, because it's a whole different adjustment. But it made it harder. But like that showed me too that, you know, you can take some advice, but it doesn't mean it's always going to work out that way. So.
Yeah, and speaking on that part, with my girls, they really wasn't crybabies anyway. They did have a pacifier.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, I didn't just shove it in their mouth. Like, I actually talked to my kids. I didn't I didn't do that goo goo gaga baby stuff, because first of all, they're
Mhm.
humans, and as much as you talk to them and communicate with them, it
Mhm.
opens their mindset and they can comprehend much
Mhm.
faster. So I didn't baby them up that way. I talked to them
Mhm.
regular, and then, like, as you continue to do that, they started to articulate, and talk proper, but
Right.
understand to hold a sentence. You know what I'm saying? Or a conversation.
Mhm.
Make a
Mhm.
sentence, holding a conversation. So, and as they, was going to their follow up appointments and things like that, the doctor would compliment me and like, yo, they talking so nice and this and that. I say yes, because I don't
Mhm.
play that crap. Like, I do not, play that Google Gaga. Because what are they learning from that? You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Right.
you when it comes down to parenting in general and just the moms, because we're the nurturing one. Not saying dads don't, but
Mhm.
we're the first person of contact because we're birthing them. You know what I mean? Like, they're in our
Right.
bodies, they feeling our pain, they feeling our energy, all of that
Mhm.
type of stuff. So that's that connection and bond that we have as moms. So
Mhm.
when that's how you start our communication and being being able, can't talk today, excuse me, being able to understand um each other, period.
Mhm.
That cuddle and bond, that, what is it called, I think of it right now, but the bonding time, the affectionate, that's the word I'm looking. So I'm talking about the affectionate, the bonding and all that type of stuff. So that plays a part too, because some
Mhm.
people are not that way. When you try to give them that hug, you trying to embrace them, like, we are their safe space. So
Mhm.
we have to learn to become and be that safe space, because when they go out and grow up in the real world, they may
Mhm.
not have that. They may, but that comes a dime a dozen, when you
Right.
find that nice person or that best friend and stuff like that, and then their family, embrace you and stuff like that. So I don't want my kids to go out there seeking stuff that they can get from home. I want them to be able to go out there in the world and still be like, you know what, I'm going to my parents' house, because that's their safe space. That's they're feeling love, that just that bond, that family mentality, all of that. So I don't have that. I used to have that, but that's why I work so hard being a mom and being a parent, to give back that to my kids, and also be that for them, because you
Mhm.
never know. You never know when they might go through. You just try to do the best as you can
Mhm.
and have them understand, how to go through life and how to go through many different situations. So,
I was say, just to touch on that, because like you said, like you grew up, you know, with love and stuff. You know, did your mom and stuff like give you hugs and tell you love you and stuff like that? She did.
No, my mom wasn't
Mhm.
affectionate. So even to
Okay.
the day, like if I would go to her hug, she would be like cringing. So like I don't know where that came from, you know.
Okay. Okay.
So she just not affectionate. So I was like,
Okay.
okay. I knew that, I understood that body language. So yeah, we a hug,
Mhm.
like celebrating things like that, but it wasn't like a constant thing. Like
Like
telling my
more on a
kids,
regular basis.
yeah, like every day I'm getting a hug. It don't matter what it is. Even most times we try to do that anyways. Like, before bed and throughout the day, and say good morning, like all that type of stuff. Like we didn't get like, oh, good morning, you woke
Mm.
up today and stuff like that. Like those type of positive inspirations or affirmations to be like, okay, they glad to see me. So
Right.
I made sure I put that in my kids, because even before my kids, me and my husband did that, and we still, every time we get off the phone, whether we mad or not, we still say love, and we say love. That's our little thing. So don't be taking my stuff. But like that's how I taught. That's what my words was when they were babies, because they couldn't really say like I love you, but that's our I love you. But so we do that, and I was trying to tell like my family, because I do that in my household. Like when we talk to each other, we need to tell them like we love them, because at the end of the day, you may not be here, the next day. And the last words that I want my kids to remember is that I love them. You know what I mean? So I think about those type of things, and that's what makes me be the parent that I am, because I'm always thinking ahead in the future of how this going to affect them.
Mhm. So now, yeah. So growing up, my mom, we did have that on a regular basis. Like, I love you and the hugs and stuff, and that kind of like
That's
catered to
nice.
me, going into that now because I had that. So now I want my kids to experience that. But I saw like
Mm-hmm.
a post on Instagram where it was a mom that like kind of in your same shoes where she wasn't used to that because she didn't get that affection. So now that her
Mm-hmm.
kids are like there and they're running up to her, giving her hugs, and husband wants to be all lovey-dovey, she doesn't know how to receive it because she wasn't used to it. So it was like a different territory for her because she looking at them like kids, get off me. Like, why y'all hugging me so much? Why y'all so like,
Yeah.
affectionate, lovey dovey? But it was because she wasn't used to it. So it's like now you gotta like program yourself to get into that with your family now and
Mm-hmm.
do something different than how you were raised. But I
Exactly.
definitely
And that's what it's all about, doing something
and I
different.
Right, and I definitely feel like it's important to instill that affection into your children. I don't think you want them like growing up in this cold world and just. I feel like that's what's wrong today because a lot of people aren't
Yep.
getting enough affection and stuff, and that's why it's so much hatred and
Yes.
just chaos going on
That
because
part.
that affection, that connection is missing. And I feel like it starts
Yep.
at home, right? It starts with
It
the parents,
does.
with mom.
Everything starts at home.
And like you were saying, like, having that connection when, they're in your stomach and,
Yep.
growing and stuff, you instantly had that connection. Because like you said, it gets for your heartbeat, your emotions, everything. But like you said, it's not for every woman because I feel like all moms don't instantly have that connection with their
They
children.
don't.
You think that
Right.
they
They
would.
don't. Because
So
you
I feel
also
like
got to
it's
think
so
about how
important.
that kid got here.
Right,
Sometimes it's
right,
not in love.
right.
I talk to my brother all the time, and I be like, okay, if you want to be a father, just make sure you're doing everything, out of love.
Mm.
Don't just
Out
be
of
bringing
love.
in these kids, because you want that unconditional love. And because it's going to be a disappointment. So I'm trying to also help guide, I'm guiding my kids, but also giving these
Hmm.
things that I know deep down, to share them with other people,
Right,
because some people, like I said, that's why I don't want my kids going out there looking for things that they are lacking from us as their parents.
right, right.
So, because that's a dangerous thing. It
It
really is.
is.
Because if
It
somebody
is.
don't give them what they want, then what you think they're going to do? They're going to blow up.
Mm-hmm.
And then who's going to be there? Like we're not always going to be there to help them go through that, think about it before they react.
Mm-hmm.
And then there they go, it's somewhere that you don't want them to go, down the wrong path or something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think about that all the time, because I know how I was when I was a kid. I always wanted, you know a father figure and stuff like that, to the point, I knew it wasn't going to happen. So I just, buried that piece. And I can talk about it, now. And if I talked about it before, it didn't bring tears to my eyes, but I will always think like, damn, I don't have a dad, and this and that and the third. And I think that that's important. These are the things that, I yearn for, but I also didn't I did take part of that into, my husband, like thinking like what a father should be to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I did apologize for that. But I didn't, like, I'm not yearning for that. I just want that for my kids. You know what I'm saying? So it's a difference in me just going out there like looking for love in these men, because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't do that. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely didn't do that. So, and hoeing around and all that type. I didn't do that.
You
I
had
I
people that go that route because they didn't have the
Yes,
father.
correct. And that's why I'm specifically speaking on that part, because you don't have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You can just, you pick them as they come. You just basically put your boundaries in place, and then, if that person is not willing to give you what you want as far as that relationship, as far as your boundaries and things like that, then you just let them go, because there's too many fishes out in the sea to be stuck on one person and getting treated crazy, for real, getting treated crazy and all of that type of stuff, because everybody has a person out there. You just have to find them.
Right.
You just have
Right.
to find them. Don't
Mm-hmm.
settle for less, and I never settle for less. I'm always going to the top
And
in
like you said,
anything.
it's somebody out there for everyone because, like you said, everybody got different upbringings, personalities. So you can find your person. It's just like you said, all about you setting your boundaries and not just.
Yes,
So I don't even want to say desperate because it doesn't mean you're desperate, but just be looking so much for love that you accept anything.
right. Yeah. So it's crazy, but you can do it. I mean, it's gonna be as crazy as you want it to be. But if you stick to, what you know and what you want to learn, you
Hmm.
always have to be open minded, because you learn things every day.
Every day.
So, and you can do it. You just gotta do it. Ain't
Yeah,
nothing
and
to it
like
but
you
to do
said,
it.
and like you said, you use your, not having a father figure in your life to shape, how you and your husband for your kids is like you wanted that father figure for your kids because you didn't have it. And that was good
Absolutely.
to, have that because then, they're having a different upbringing than what you had. And you're, showing that
Right.
affection, that love, and that's a good, solid foundation for them.
Yes, because you gotta land that foundation, okay, in order to build on it. You really
Exactly.
do. And that's
Mm-hmm.
where it starts at. Finding and having those hard conversations when y'all started, when y'all start dating.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot not have those conversations, because if you're looking for somebody for longevity, you have to have those conversations in the beginning. What you
Mm-hmm.
looking for? What are we doing here? What are you trying to get out of this relationship? What you trying to get
Right.
out of me? What you going to be doing? Because
Right.
first of all, I'm not keeping up no man. I'm not keeping up no man, while I'm going out there working hard and didn't have any. First of all, I also set a boundary that I never wanted to be a baby mama. Okay. I wanted to
Me
be a
too.
wife and
Me
have
too.
kids.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And first of all, even if you want to bring it down to the top, I never even saw myself being a wife and kids. But when it happened, I made sure it happened correctly, you
Right.
know? So I just don't have the time or the patience to be putting up with people bull crap. I don't. So and first of all, you gotta know who you are as a person. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot be lost in a sauce and then thinking you can bring in little innocent babies and then think that you can have those, the mentality and the guidance and to be able to raise another person.
I
You know what
know.
I'm saying?
Because that's the
Now I'm
that's the
not going
biggest responsibility that you're ever going to have, raising a whole nother human being to go out into this world. Like that's the
yeah.
biggest responsibility. So it's like that's something you really got to think about. Like how do you want to raise them up? What do you want them to learn?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want them to hone on to? Like
Yeah.
how are you setting their foundation so they can be successful and you ain't got to worry about them so much?
Exactly. Because when it comes down to parenting, period, is showing, and doing, so they can
Mm-hmm.
take that initiative steps and guidance in doing
Right.
better for them. Because
Right.
you always want your kids to do better for you. You just had to set those boundaries as well. So it's all
Mm-hmm.
about boundaries and communication and, talking out problems and, things like that. So, that's what we do.
Yeah, I
So,
definitely feel that. But I mean, now, how do you feel about like your me time? Because I know, like for me, I feel like
mhm,
me time is definitely important because I'm mom 24/7, and I'm like I was mom. I was niche before I became mom, before I became wife, and sometimes you
mhm,
get lost in yourself, and you kind of, it's kind of hard to get back to that. So I
right.
try to prioritize like some self care, trying to do some things for myself, even if it's just my husband taking the kids and getting out the house so I can have even time for myself in the house, which is
Right.
underrated, but so needed. But like I
Right.
feel like, we gotta prioritize ourselves, because you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't be your all and give your all to your kids or your husband if you don't have nothing to give. So I think, like, even in the midst of how hard it is being a mom, it's hard too, trying to prioritize yourself without feeling guilty, without feeling selfish, and but
Absolutely.
yeah, but like I said, but again, it's needed, because if I don't do it, then I'm
Hmm.
not nothing. Like, I can't pour anything into my kids, into nobody, and I'm just like, I'm depleted. So it's like, I gotta do things for me, and I gotta focus on me sometimes, and put them on the back burner, and not feel selfish about it.
Yeah. And I was just reading something or listening to something like that, and that came from Tia Mowry, from
Yeah.
the twins,
The
Tia and
sister.
Tamara. Yes, it's the sister. And she was always talking about how self-care is selfless. So I was
Yeah.
thinking about that too, and I agree with you. We have to be able to take care of ourselves, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's selfish because I always thought it was selfish because I'm like, okay, I am a mom. I have to take care of my cubs, because
Mm-hmm.
when my cubs not taken care of, I am mama bear, okay?
As it,
Everywhere. I mean, in them schools and everything. I'm coming out. So
you should.
as I should, right? Um, and that's why I feel like, and I'm gonna talk about that soon, and in down the line, because I think being that person too, that's a lot in itself, and how we should be moms too. But back to self care, you know, I am just now starting self care, probably about 6 months to 8 months now, to
Mm-hmm.
put myself first, because I'm like, okay, now it's my time. My kids are 7 and 10. I mentioned this on the first episode, but they're 7 and 10, and they're able to do things by themselves at points in time. So now, some of the times that I'm still watching them, and that's another thing that I feel as though I have to do as a mom. Like, I still got to watch my kids, whether they 7 and 10 or not, because I'm not about to be having no
Always.
rumbunctions. Okay, but I do get my me time. I started doing, my walks in the morning, my little meditation,
Mm-hmm.
even doing, my facial care. And I'm talking about facial care as far as like actually putting in time for me, because I still, wash my face and stuff like that. But I was like, you know what, I got what is a regiment or whatever that I do in the morning. I'm just, getting some sunlight, just trying to get myself together before I start my day, because as we talked about a little briefly too, we work from home. So we try to get that little
Mm-hmm.
time in like 5 or 10 minutes before your day go or get hectic, and like you said, if you don't get those times to yourself, then your energy and everything is going to be depleted. You get
Mm-hmm.
frustrated, you get a lot. So you gotta also go to bed on time, so, or
I'm
at a
still working
decent
on
time.
that. I'm still working on that. Because as a
Yeah,
mom, that don't always happen. You be the last one to go to bed. Everybody else be sleepy, get everybody else together, and then you struggling, wandering into bed like 10, 11 o'clock. Like, what the heck?
girl, no, not me. Because guess what? That comes from boundaries too. Now, I used to be that way, because I used to be like, you know what? Because all my husband really had to do was just worry about himself, and I took care of everything. But
Yeah.
that's where it goes to self care. That's where the boundaries also start. You like, listen, I still need help. Not saying that he didn't help me. He helped me in ways, but like the things that I needed help with, like I was getting, like I said, my me time was not me time. I always thought it was selfish, because I was taking time away from my kids and my husband to do things with them all the time, 24/7. But that's when y'all start getting frustrated. That's when y'all start bumping heads. So y'all need that time apart. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
learning that, because it's like, and we used to have that. And we used to have that way before our kids too. You know what I'm saying? Where I should say way before, because again, boundaries. Because when I was like, you know what? When we had these kids, we got to do X, Y, and Z, right? So and I'm not gonna be in this by myself. Otherwise, that's where it
Right.
comes with, a baby mama or a baby daddy. Like, we wasn't doing that. First of all, my
Right.
husband hate that word because he also came from, a two-parent household too. But, I expected him to do these things, but I still had to turn around and, help him learn how to do things as well, because he didn't have those skills like I did. So yeah, that's why I thought, that my self-care was selfish. And but I know that, like you was talking about, we talked about offspring, that how we gotta make sure our cup is full. We have to make sure we're able to pour into our kids, pour into our husband, and things like that. And so we have to put ourselves first. We have to be mentally healthy in order for us to give our kids the same, thoughts and care, because they need to be mentally and healthy all the time. So
I mean, and like
um
you said, like you said, like they need to be mentally, but it's all about showing more than telling. So me taking that
exactly.
time out for myself, that's showing them that it's okay to do that and not feel,
Yes.
especially for like, you got daughters. So as they become moms, they can
Yeah.
say, well, mom, she took time and she did things for herself, and it makes them feel like okay, they don't have to feel guilty like we
Yes.
feel guilty for doing it because it was shown to them.
Exactly. And you got to take care of yourself first. You do,
Mhm.
you really do, because if you can't pour, like, what if you don't have the energy, if your glass is not full, cup, mug, whatever you want to call it, wherever you pour, bowl, whatever. If it hold liquid, your wine glass, all of that. If you cannot feel that, how can you give something to somebody else? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You cannot give and keep giving and giving and giving, and then you draining yourself. That's overwhelming.
Mhm.
Depression,
Mhm.
anxiety, the
Mhm.
obligation, like you have to do this, you have to do that. So you
Mhm.
just have to find your medium. You have to find what you want to do, how you want to
Mhm.
do it, and then you'll be able to give. That's it.
Exactly. Yep. Find that balance.
Yeah, it's all about, okay, Libras. I got that
Yeah, that's
scale.
why I threw it in there. Find that balance.
Finding that balance, yes. Because mom is, listen, mom be lifing, okay? And, or I should say, mom is mommying, okay? Because
There
we
you
we
go. Mom is
never,
mom.
yes, I like that, because um we're always going to be that person for our
Mhm.
kids, and we always going to be here as long as, God willing, our
Mhm.
heart pumping and stumping and rumbling around or whatever in there. So you got to take care of yourself and your health,
You
because
so do. You so do. It's
yeah,
I think that's more important. I mean, of course, taking care of your kids and your family is important, but I think that's more important. Taking care of yourself, so that way you
it
can
is.
do that.
It is, because how are you gonna survive out of here, and you, like, looking crazy?
Listen,
Because first of
and
all,
motherhood
we
is a
looking
journey.
good on camera,
Listen,
okay?
motherhood
But
is a
how we
journey.
gonna be looking good?
Right.
We're gonna be looking like old people, and I don't got the time.
As I said, motherhood is a journey because we're still learning and we're still growing while we're trying to
Yes.
lead and grow them. Like so, it's a
Hmm.
journey for both. It's a journey for
It
everybody.
is. It really is. And also, the journey is, not always worrying about yourself and that being selfish. You know what I'm saying? Because you still have your kids, you still got your husband, you still got family if they still there rocking with you,
Mhm.
and you have to learn how to do time management. That is also another key thing that you're going to have, because if you don't, you're going to be messed up.
Listen,
Okay?
you
You're
gonna
going
be
to have, yeah, you got to have an open mind, and you got to have time management, because like we talked about briefly about the bedtime. How are you going to let your kids do whatever the heck they want to do, or even yourself, right? And then be able to get up the next morning and be functional? It's not going to work.
It's that's so true, and that's why I'm working better on it with myself too. Like trying to get in at a certain time, and that way you can, like you said, get up and be productive. 'Cause I'm trying to get into. I'm not a morning person, but I have to get up for work anyway. So I'm trying to get into the space where I can get up and enough time to, like you said, go for a walk, do some meditation, just do some things for myself and decompress before
Mhm.
the crazy day starts.
Yes, because it really helps. And I always wanted to be in meditation. I always wanted to do that. but I just didn't do the thing because I'm like, okay, I got to do this. I got to do that. I was not taking that time out for myself. And it
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, so what are your goals then? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are your goals? What are you trying to do?
Right.
So, I'm just doing it. And I'm always being determined anyway. So it's like, if I put my mind to something, I'm going to do it. It's all
And I
about just
definitely
doing the thing.
Yeah, I definitely think one good thing to do in the morning time too, like you were saying, like what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? Write stuff down, like what's your goals for that day or what's your goals for that week? Like stuff,
Mm-hmm.
little things that you can like work towards to accomplish. Because little things, small things turn into big things. So it's like
Yes.
do it one day at a time. Write down little things
Yep.
that you might, like you said, just want to accomplish that day. I'll write down whatever. Like today, I'm gonna try not to do this or try not to do this or do that or whatever, and just like focus on that day. Focus on that day, that moment that you're in, and like I said, those
Yes.
little habits and stuff, they'll turn into bigger results and you'll see it down
And
the
they
line. Like,
will.
you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
definitely take the time for yourself. Jot those things down. That way, when you can see it in black and white on that paper, it's more
Yep.
real. You know what I mean? And you
Yes.
focus more on trying to accomplish it because it's right there in your face.
And as an encouragement. You know
Right.
what I mean? And
There you
accomplishment at the same time too. Cause
go.
it's like, okay, I'm gonna do this, right?
Mhm.
And then you look at it, months back and you be like, you know what? Even like with the exercising, you want to see
Exactly.
those results if you keep on working on it.
Hmm.
Okay.
And everything, like I
So
said, it's a journey. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So with
right.
everything in life, you got take it step by step. Small steps lead to big results. That's what I always
It
say. So
does.
take it day by day, and jot them things down if you have to, or put it in your phone or whatever. Anywhere that you can visually see it. You got a board or something like a vision board or something. Put it on there.
Mm,
Like just
yeah. I was gonna mention that.
accomplish those goals for yourself. You know what I mean? Like you owe it
Right.
to yourself because as moms,
Yes.
we do so much for like our kids and stuff. It's time for you to pour back into yourself. Do things for yourself to make you feel good. Because when you feel
Yeah.
good, they feel good. It rubs off.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
And for us, because we're the moms, we the ones who birthing the kid, we make it
Mhm.
happen. Okay.
No
So
matter
that's why
what.
we gotta be okay. That's why we have to be priority as well. And not saying that the men out there not priority, but women are priority because we do the most you
Hmm.
know, from the birthing of the kids to that relationship, to that feeling, to being that nurtured person, all of that,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So we have it firsthand,
Hmm.
we definitely do.
And I say, listen, because me and my husband could be in the house together, and they'll go right past him and come and ask me a million questions. I'm like, your dad's sitting right there.
Okay, that part,
So that's why I need my me time because y'all driving me
that
crazy.
part,
You can't
yes,
you can't
right.
he there,
You
he a
know
parent.
why? Because then the fathers be like, you know what, go ask your mom what your mom say.
Right.
But that's
Right.
the problem right there, right? Because then that's the problem right there, because some, like, for my girls, my husband is a sucker for them. I'm gonna just say that straight up, because they're daddy's girls,
Mhm.
and he wants to give them the world and this and that and third. And I get that
Mhm.
and I love that. But sometimes you gotta put your foot down,
Mhm.
right? For,
Mhm.
the respect, and also to show them, that I got that, that power a little bit, just a little
Mhm.
bit power. Not saying, go all crazy or like that, but I'm just saying, like, you just got to put your foot down, because that's why they say, well, let me go to mom. Let me not go to dad and ask, because then if I'm asking mom, she is telling me yes or no, versus in
Mhm.
daddy, if he say yes or no, or he getting in trouble.
Right. Right.
That's what the thing is. So
Ugh.
they got to look at them thing, and it's really important to both parents being on the same page. Whether y'all together, whether y'all, in two different households, just still be on the same page.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, the kids matter. That's all
Mhm.
you help guiding is those kids. You can't be
Mhm.
disrespectful to the mom. You can't be disrespectful to the father, because at
Mhm.
one point in time, I'm hoping y'all made them out of love, because that
Right.
goes back to
Right.
that. And y'all loved each other. And y'all loved what was going on at that point. So, like,
Exactly.
come on, get it together.
And I don't
And
like
that's
when
the
that kind of stuff
problem.
happens either because, like, give the kids the opportunity to shape their own views in relationship with
Mm-hmm.
either parent. Like, don't try to
That
influence
part.
they feel about a parent because of how you feel. Like, let them grow their own
Exactly.
relationship. If the parent ain't there, then let them. If they're going to have animosity, let them have animosity on their own because the parent not there, not because you feeding them whatever. Like, that's always
Yes.
been like a pet peeve. Like, let them create their own,
Mm-hmm.
mindset and foundation with either parent, no matter how you feel. Because, like you said, hopefully,
Exactly.
they were made out of love. But either way, like, the kids didn't ask to be here and be put in that situation. So don't be
That's what
trying
I'm
to
saying.
pin them against each other because of how things worked or didn't work out between y'all two. It has nothing to do with
Mm-hmm.
them. Like, that's still their
Exactly.
dad, that's still their mom at the end of the day. Whether
And
y'all
at the
together
end
or
of the day, y'all just trying to help guide them to be
not.
more
Exactly.
productive out here. But I guess that's how we balance that too. With first is us, then we get the kids, and then it's the hubby or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
that's how we balance all of that and it come full circle. And once you
Yes.
do that, everybody will be happy. They'd be like, oh.
Yes.
It would be like like a zen moment. Like, yes, with that
Yes.
little
You know what I
halo
want
over you.
what I want to touch on too, because I saw a quote about talking about, it takes a village. But I seen one that said
Yes.
it takes a village to it takes a village for the mom actually than the kids, because we need encouragement, like, being pregnant, even like the postpartum time. Like, I felt like
Oh
that
my
was like
God.
sensitive time because it's a really big adjustment, especially if you're a first time mom. Like, for me,
Yes.
it was a big adjustment. And then I didn't have my son natural, I had a C-section. So even just
Mm.
going into that, the whole healing process, and then still trying to care for a baby, and like that
Yes.
postpartum period was mad real. And I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes, everybody focuses on the child, but the mom is who needs that support the most.
Okay. For
She's
real.
still trying to figure out her way, and still trying to figure out everything. Like, it's a whole adjustment. Like,
Mm-hmm.
now you're not, like, I'm not just Nisha anymore. Now I'm mom. So it's like
Yeah.
you automatically go into mommy mode when I'm trying to figure out how to take care of him while I'm still trying to heal. I'm sore, so
Yes.
you
Can't
know
walk. Stomach
he
hurting.
can't walk, he
And
can't
those
really
damn
move.
underwear is not it.
Trying to
Them
breastfeed, like,
things.
that's a whole thing in itself. So it's just like
Yes.
the village is really needed for the mom and the dad, for the parents more than the child. Like,
Right.
we
But
need
that's why we got to have our partners to
that.
lean on the most because
Hmm.
that's who was in our household at that time. Because if you like
Right.
me, sometimes you don't have your mother there, and you in a different state than your parent or whatever. You know what I'm
That's
saying? Like
true.
your mom or whatever. So some
Hmm.
people are not still like that and they have their moms, flying in or their parents or whoever to
Hmm.
help them, maybe auntie and all of them. But they coming for the baby. But like you said, they still need to stay around and stick around a little bit to help
Hmm.
you through life. And
Hmm.
because you done gave life. You know what I'm saying? And you
Hmm.
can't get up and you can't do this, but they think because you're so like me, independent, determined, I want to do the damn thing, which I am. But still, you still need that. That goes to
Even the most
babysitting too.
independent person needs help
It does.
sometimes.
They do. Yes, and we need that independency, you and that independent help or whatever. But yeah, we do have to think about those things,
Hmm.
and then they so hype, that you becoming a mom, that you have a baby in there. But what are you doing afterwards when
Right.
it's all said and done? What are you
Hmm.
doing during it? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Materialistic things, that's what the problem is. It's like, okay, I'm gonna get you this and I'm gonna get you that. Thank you very much. But what
Hmm.
I really need is my mental state to be okay.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
need you here with me, you
Hmm.
know, helping me along the way. When the
Hmm.
baby comes, I can't stand up. I already have hard time going to the bathroom after the fact. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So I need help, helping me up out the bed, walking me to the bathroom,
Right.
helping me doing those things, getting the baby, bringing them to me, stuff like
Hmm.
that. So it's the hands that needs to be there,
Hands. And that's
because
why
it's
and that's why
hard.
I say it's so important, because like you say, you can try to depend on your partner, but like for me, my husband was working. So I was the one that was in the house putting
Exactly.
the kids. So when he come home,
Yes.
he's trying to help me, but he's tired too because he done been at work all day. So that's where
Right.
I need my village, because I need somebody to come in and help me, because he's trying his best, but it's hard on him
Hmm.
too. It's hard on both of us. So
Yeah,
that's
and
why,
then you getting frustrated with him
right. And
because it's
then
like I understand you need to bring home the bacon, and
Right.
I can fry it or whatever, but you still a parent too. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that's where,
Mm-hmm.
that's where that communication come from. Because like
Mm-hmm.
with my husband, he didn't get those things. He didn't get the fatherly time or, the big brother stuff because he's the only child, so
Right.
he didn't have that. He had cousins and stuff like that, but who worrying about that? He just playing around with them,
Right.
like, well, let's play football and this and that and the third, doing that type of stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
actually being there, nurturing, people back to health, that's a struggle in itself. Because you have to also know before you become parents, like you do need to get deep in knowing that person background, how he grew up and stuff, because that's going to come out, during parenting skills when you need them the most,
Mm-hmm.
all of that,
Mm-hmm.
you know hug and
That's it.
affection and stuff like that. If
Mm-hmm.
you're going through something, they may not know how to help you through that.
Right.
So it's a learning lesson, but you also need to, and I think you need to like think about that, but also I now thinking back, that's where those parenting classes come. So make sure y'all finding your resources
I'm about to say,
because
you know what? I mean, yeah, because that definitely can help with parent. But you know what? I feel like they can give you some ideas, but again,
yes,
nothing can truly prepare you for parenthood
right,
because
right,
child is different. So I do think that they
right.
can help because they can give you some kind of guidance,
Yes,
some
but
kind of
what
foundation to start with.
yeah, and what I think that would help guide, right, is still, it goes back to motherhood or
Mm-hmm.
parenting skills and giving them the kids the tools that they need to survive and be able to do things themselves. So when they do have these big celebrations and big events in their life, they know how to go through those things,
Right. Right.
because if, say for an example, like for my oldest daughter, she was there helping with, my youngest, feeding her, entertaining her, because
Right.
I breastfed my second, but I didn't breastfeed my oldest. But
Okay.
she was there taking on them roles, entertaining, playing while I was up there pumping milk, you know, and so she was able to see those things. And my daughter, my young one, she still kind of know how to do that herself too, because again, well, they have baby dolls too. So I give those things because, first of all, this world, like you said, is crazy. That's
Mm-hmm.
number one. And the fact that, we grew up playing with baby dolls and stuff like that and knowing how to do things and on our own and play with them and stuff like that. But that part still could come into play when you
Mm-hmm.
actually have a real baby. You know how to get the bottle, you know how to warm it up and stuff like that. Yeah, they may teach you and stuff like that. And of course, I'm gonna be there because I'm gonna be grandma, whatever. I don't know about the grandma. I gotta figure out my own name, but I'm not about to be, one of them back in the day, like you really looking like a grandma. Like that's just gonna be my title, but that's not who I'm gonna be. So but yeah, like showing them, how to do those things is what's going to shape them into that parenting. And also
Mm-hmm.
like that independent state of mind too, like their
Mm-hmm.
determination, all of those encouragement, that lovable, that affection, all of that is going to help them when they have those big steps,
Right.
and then they
Right.
know we always going to be there, help
Mm-hmm.
guide them and still be there when they actually need somebody, not just be like,
Mm-hmm.
what, I'm going to be there and then don't show up. Like they know
Right.
they're going to have babysitters, because again, that's where it goes back to self-care, right? Because
Right.
they need that break.
Mm-hmm. We
They
do need that
need
break.
that break.
That's why I'm like. That's why I said it. That village is important because I need. Listen, I need to be able to drop the kids sometime off
Mhm.
sometime, whether it's me time or me and my husband time, because that's just as important
Right.
too.
Yes, it is.
Our time outside of the kids. So I just feel like that village is needed for that support. You know what I mean? We
It
all
is.
need that support. You can't just be kids and husband 24/7. Like you go and bring yourself out naturally.
You
That's
are.
anybody. Like anybody will
And
bring themselves a break.
you can't just be there either for the good times and don't be there for the bad times. And I'm talking about, all relationships, your parents, your
Mm-hmm.
husband, your
Mm-hmm.
friends,
Mm-hmm.
whoever just want to be in your circle just because they getting something out of it. Like that's not what it is. That's why
Right.
listen, I cut people off in a dime a dozen. Okay.
Look, you already know I'm an introvert, so
Yes.
relationships
I
are
feel like,
few.
look, this ain't working, sweetie. Click. Like, I don't have the time. I don't have the time and the patience because that's something you don't get back. You know,
Right,
you never get
right.
back your time.
Mm-hmm. That is so
And
true.
how long you been with hubby?
Well, it's been 12 years, 10 years. It'll be 10 years of marriage next year.
And see, that's the bond right there. Now I've been
Mhm.
with my husband all together since what? Going on 14 years.
Okay, see,
You know?
turn.
So in 3 years into that, that's when we started yeah, that's when we started having kids. So, but I was thinking like, and we always think about this too, like you gotta build when I talk about building that foundation, like, yes, but spend that time just loving on each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Just
Uh-huh.
loving on each other, being in each other's presence, being happy, and like I said, finding out the roots of situations, so y'all don't go in and expecting things. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I mean, I guess maybe just buy that doll that be crying and carrying on, or
But you
see
know
how they gonna deal with
what? Now, growing
it.
up, we did have dolls because I'm one. I'm one of four. I have three sisters, so
Hmm.
we did have dolls and stuff, but I wasn't really like I played with them here and there, but I was more of a video game. Like I was a gamer. So my sisters and stuff, they did like the Barbie dolls and doll babies and stuff. And we did it like we had like little doll baby strollers and stuff, but it wasn't really my thing. Like I was more into gaming. But I still
Hmm.
played with it and still like you said, I knew how to, change a diaper because I was the oldest. I was
Right.
changing siblings' diapers and making bottles and stuff. So I still had that experience to shape me,
Right.
with motherhood.
Yeah, but again, I did too. Well, I had a younger brother and sister as well.
Mm,
Well, younger sisters and a brother. But I don't
right.
think I did anything with my sister after me because we're 2 years apart. So what am I doing? You know what I'm saying? We playing together. But when my mom had that break, well, we like 13 years apart, 13 and 14 years apart.
That's how me and
13
my
from
brother.
my brother. Yeah. So I had that, that experience to help them with that. And that's why, me and my brother's close to this day because he know the real. You know what I'm saying? He know the real Keish. He know the real like person that I am. And if he have any type of ideas or whatever, he always called me up, run it by me. And that's what I love about our relationship, not the fact that he want to hurry up and get something before I do. You know what I'm saying? Because that
Right.
happens.
Hmm.
That you say something you want, somebody already try, let me hurry up and do it, and then fail at it, and then look at you like you crazy. But if you would have
I was
asked,
gonna say that don't happen just with siblings. That happens with friendships,
it
relationships,
does. That
any kind of
part.
relationship. Your parents, your
It
cousins,
does.
friends. You tell them
Yep.
something like you said, and then they trying to rush and do it too. But you gotta remember, you don't have my mentality, so you could try to do it, but
Yes.
it come out like me because you don't think like me, you don't move like me. So you could try, but
Right.
it's not gonna
That's
come
why
out the
we,
way you think
yeah.
it's gonna.
Exactly. Okay. But yeah, so but yeah, that goes back to that experience that I had, So, and I was the babysitter of the family. I was the last one out of the oldest to have kids. So I already had the nephews, I had the nieces, helping raising them. And because I was just like, you know what? And then at one point, I was like, you know what? Well, first of all, I was always like, I don't want to be a mom. I don't even want to be, wife, all this type of stuff. I just was just doing me
Hmm.
until I found my husband, but that's a different story. So, and now I'm here.
I can agree with that because I was like that too. Even like growing up and stuff, I seen other people having kids and stuff, and I was like, I don't know if I really want none. And then, like you said, you meet your husband, and then things change. And now I got two
Exactly.
kids. So,
Yeah, and then sometimes, they be looking at you sideways, but it's like I'm always there, like I'm always want to be auntie, but it's not about me. Like y'all still have your mom that y'all gotta deal with as far
hmm.
as asking them. Cause I don't mind, going to pick them up and stuff like that. But the problem is it's like, okay, so if I can do this, for you, how can you can't do that for me? And I didn't even look at it that way. Overall, I look at it that I'm still an aunt. I still want to build those relationships with my nieces and nephews and stuff like that. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So that's how I look at stuff, and I would wish everybody look at it that way for me, especially like my family, because we were so close, but
Hmm.
they don't. So,
And you
but
ain't
yeah,
never
that's
lied. I'm like that too. Now, me, I'm the oldest, so I had kids first out of my siblings. So now that my
Mm.
siblings have kids, I'll try to get them over here and I'll watch them. But like you said, I feel the same way. Like, I want them to, do it the same. Like, if I'm watching them sometimes, then you watch them sometimes, and don't mind doing it. Like you said, not do it out of the strength because I'm auntie at the end of the day, and like you said,
Mm-hmm.
you still want to have that relationship with your nieces and nephews,
Yes.
and I do too. So
Yeah.
that's why, I'll get them here and there and watch them and stuff, or they may, spend the weekend or something like that over and play with their cousins. But I do that, on my own strength. And like you said, you do that, hoping that the favor would be returned, or thinking that your siblings or family in general would feel the same way or do the same.
And I don't look at it as, a favor. I still look at it as still being able to build that relationship. Like, I don't, because, growing up, like I said, like I was the last one out of the oldest that had kids. And
Mm-hmm.
so I know they burnt bridges and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, they still get the help, and
Right.
I'm the one who don't. But
Um,
that don't phase me anymore. I'm just talking about it, because we got to talk about it. And then we trying to get out there and let people know like it ain't it. Sometimes. But like, and it goes back to building that village though, as you was talking about, as we talking about, and for the moms and relationships and all of that, because that's what shapes people and give them different situations and all of that type of stuff in order for them to know how to handle it, or like you said, being able to think about that person how they want it, because everybody has their own perspective of a different situation or an experience. Some
that's
experiences
true.
you can't take away from people. Everybody got their own eyes, okay, and everybody interpret it differently,
Mm-hmm.
so, and for me, I'm interpreting it like, listen, I want to be known as auntie, because that's who I am. I'm my aunt. But not
Right.
only that, I want them to be like, well, first, I don't really need them to know because they already know. But building those relationships, that's how they know. Because they like, oh, yeah, when I go to Keisha's house, I'm not going I'm not going over there just to be staying in the house all day and sleeping
Mm-hmm.
and watching TV. We actually go out and do
And do
things.
stuff. Right.
Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
some of them don't even know how to skate or whatever. Like, or ride a bike or ride a scooter and stuff like that. And I'm asking, how they get to learn, because I'm teaching them.
Mm-hmm.
I do things with my kids. I'm not a mom that just gonna be like, okay, y'all do whatever. Cause that's how we grew up. We was always been told be quiet. We didn't have a voice. We didn't have anything. So for me, for us raising healthy kids, I want them to be able to speak. I want to know what's wrong with them. I don't want anybody in this world to shush my kids and be like, you know what, be quiet. It's a lot of crazies out here. It's a lot of
Exactly.
crazy situations going up out here. And I
Mm-hmm.
want my kids to know that I am their safe space.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when they have a situation, who do you think they come to? They come to mommy.
Right.
First of all, because they know how I am. They know I'm going, if it's a crazy situation, Mama Bear coming out. So I got to bring Mama Bear back out. I'm going to handle it, because ain't nobody going to mess with my cubs.
Mm-hmm.
But I do definitely agree with that village. But some
Mm.
people they have to be willing to build that village with you,
That's true.
not just say it, but they have to be willing. And right
Mm-hmm.
now, I don't have people in my corner that's willing to build this village. So it's
Okay.
like it's just me and hubby,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So it is what it is, but that's how it's gonna be.
I'm not saying I do, agree with you, like you said, having them like speak their minds and stuff because I mean that is important. I mean, still be respectful. Like I want you to still talk about how you feel and stuff, but be respectful about it too. Like come to me in any situation. That's why I say situation. Come to me in any
Situation,
situation, but come to me, but be respectful about it. Voice your opinion,
right?
voice your feel, and then and
Right.
we'll get resolve it. And like you said, if Mama Bear got to come out to protect the cubs, then she come out. But
Um,
yeah, right. So, but yeah, just be respectful. But yeah, but like you said, and now in your case, because you said you don't have that village like that, so like
right.
how do you make that time for just you and hubby outside of kids?
When they sleep,
Okay. Oh.
when they sleep, we'll try to catch a movie, or we'll just be in each other presence. Do it like that, or
Oh.
we'll walk or whatever, be outside just talking. But yeah, that's basically what we're gonna be doing. So we are not going to be, doing, I guess, adult things as far as like, where no kids allowed, like, I don't know. I'm just putting
Like
something
going
out there,
out.
like a whole. Yeah, well, going out, doing adult things, or like, how like hotels be like adults only. Like, how we gonna do that? Like, if we travel, we're gonna have to travel with them. You have to know who you getting involved with in order to see how they living, how they family is. Our
Mm-hmm.
families, both before we came together, was already somewhat together. I think and I hate talking about this as far as COVID, but COVID played a lot of part. Like, our family was like on the verge of like, okay, doing their own thing, but it wasn't set in stone. It's still COVID came in, was like, okay, you can't go out and see other people. You know how they was trying to put everybody in their own household, right? So, family ran with that and kept it at that. And I'm
Okay.
still trying to be like, look, we still a family at the end of the day. We're not going to let this government tell us what to do. We're still going to do it, because even in the beginning, like we talked about events, right? So let's talk about my kids' birthdays and stuff like that. Like, I was the one still having family parties, because that's what we grew up on.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the one basically doing that, because it was a gap in between, the young kids and the older kids, because my nephews are like, they're like teenagers. And
Okay.
again, because I'm the last one that had kids. Mine's a 7 to 10. And then we do have two more babies. So we have a 7, my nephew's 7, and then my niece, I think she about 2, but they
Okay.
don't need babies. But what I'm saying is, like, the older ones don't really, well, they could if the what I'm saying is, like, the older ones don't have a connection, or be around the kids, but they could, because of if the aunts, or my kids' aunts, which is my sister, will put in
Mm-hmm.
the effort, but they don't put in the effort, because
Mm-hmm.
they want to put their feelings in. They want to put their feelings in the situation, where I'm different. I'm putting my feelings to the side in order for my kids to have those relationships. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Right.
that's what they got. That's where comes from, maturity.
That's
Be
true.
like, you know what? Forget all of that. It's all about the kids, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But and I hate, like I said, I hate talking about COVID and everything, but COVID put the icing on the cake, because when it was around Mother's Day, because COVID started, and then Mother's Day came after that, and I was like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what, let's still get together and do this, Mother's Day cookout. So they laughing and giggling, because we was on, like, I don't know, 50 ways, because not 50 ways, like, how you do 2 way, 3 way, 4 way. We probably on like 5 ways on this conference call. and and we was on there with our mom and sisters, and we was like, yeah, that was my idea. And
Mm-hmm.
it was basically like, no, they said stay away and this and that and the third. And I'm like, for what though? Like, we family. So they act like I had the cooties, but then you turn around, you got other family members, linking up. And I was like, okay, so now I am officially outside. First of all, I was brought up that way anyway, being an outsider. So that's how that came about. And it was just a mess. So that's just how it
I
is.
mean, I feel like they just picked and choose who they wanted to be around at that moment. Because if
That
you still
part.
see them gathering with other family members, and y'all know already had a
Mhm.
discussion, and it was just like they were just picking and choosing who they wanted. But
There
like in my
was, and
like I'm about to say, because COVID didn't really do any. I'm like, oh no, because we still had get-togethers. We still got together like family and had cookouts and stuff. We didn't really let it like change like our relationships.
that's awesome. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was going to be that way too, but it was like, no, and this and that and the third. So I was like, you know what, forget about it. But yeah, they picked and choose, because they would call me like, so and so over here. I was like, okay, nice. I guess they wanted me to be jealous and all that type of stuff, but I'm just like, no, I'm not. Like, just roll off my shoulder. I felt some type of way about it, but I didn't let them know about it. Well, I guess they'll know about it now, but if they're watching my show, but they don't even support me, so I don't think they're gonna watch it anyway. But
Yeah, because like at the end of the day, like I'm not going to invite myself anywhere like that. Like it's like you either want me to be there, you either going to call me and tell me
hmm
yourself you want me to be around you, or you don't. Like that's how I've
yeah,
always feel. Like I'm not going to invite myself to nothing. You either want me to be there or you don't, and I'm not going to feel no type of way.
exactly.
So it's like
Exactly.
what it is.
Yeah. But I think because my family was so close, that's why I feel some type of way about it. Um, but it's okay, because I'm doing things that I'm not even going to be obligated to be, going to anything anyway. So it
Right.
is what it is. I mean, I was invited to something today, but it's like, okay, if I go, how y'all going to accommodate me? And that's another thing. Like, how you going to have a cookout and don't accommodate my dietary needs?
Right. Right.
What's the point?
Right.
And when y'all come over here, I'm doing the same for y'all. Like,
Right. Right.
no.
Right.
So y'all didn't want me there anyway. Yeah, you might have invited me probably for guilt, but did you really want me there?
Exactly. Yeah, because if
Because
it's like if
no.
you really wanted me there, you put some thought into the process. Like you say, like they know you vegan, so it's like put some thought
Yeah,
process into it. Call me up and ask me what I like. You know what I mean? And that way, and go
yeah,
pick it up or something. Or you can
yeah,
even you want to bring your own stuff and I throw it on the grill or whatever. But there's no thought put into it. Just like, oh, let me just invite Keisha so that way she don't feel like I invited everybody and not her, and it shouldn't be that way.
exactly. And I still don't feel invited because you don't accommodate me.
Right. Right. It's like you just calling me just
Exactly, for real.
put
So,
some.
but yeah, I and on that note, as far as COVID, like I was telling my as far as relationships, because I know we was talking about that. To go back to that part and how to keep us close was, I call my sisters up, I'm like, hey y'all, we should quarantine, right? And,
Mm-hmm,
get wine and have game night, all that type of stuff.
mm-hmm,
Speaking of
mm-hmm.
that, we still got to do our game night, okay?
We
Put
do.
that on checklist. Put that on the checklist.
It's coming.
But but then, and then I talk about it, like I don't talk about it no more, but like if I talked about it like till today, they be talking about, oh yeah, you ain't say that, and I wasn't off anyway. Yes, you was. Because I was the one putting like the Google Meets and all of that stuff together.
Mm-hmm,
But for us to have those relationships and still be able to see my kids grow up and stuff, like they know them, but they don't, you know, have any type of relationship. But that's not my fault. That's
right,
their
right,
fault.
right.
But that all goes tied into what you said earlier. Don't be feeding your kids crazy stuff to let them have their own perspective on people. Now,
Mm-hmm,
if they ask, that's a totally different story. Now,
mm-hmm,
you make it pick and choose what you want to tell them at that point, and that's another battle in itself as far as moms, because it's like, okay, you're putting this guard up, you're putting this wall up so that you can protect your kids, but sometimes, and I'm learning this, you can't. I know you can't protect them for everything, but the things
right.
that you can't protect them from, because then you don't want them to be, have low self-esteem about them and
Mm-hmm.
thinking about themselves in negative ways. Because for me, I'm trying to be as positive I can be, even when I'm packing
Positive,
these.
but real at the same time.
Yes, true that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
always real. I'm 100. Like, I be like, look, niche, okay? We've been talking about this game night all this time. Like, when you going to do it? Or even with our podcast, we had our moments, which,
Mm-hmm.
took a while for us to get this thing rolling, because it was like things wasn't working out, as far as the mom stuff. We was
Right.
putting that again before our what we
So,
trying to do. And I had
mm-hmm.
to, have a reality check, like, niche, come on girl, we got to get this together. So
Mm-hmm.
but that's what we talking about as far as being real and calling out when you need to be called out and stuff like that. But you know I just I don't take it on the chin, but I'm trying to also be that truthful advocate. Like, if anybody else in the world try to, switch my kids' brain on this and that, they know they can come back to mom and get the real.
Right.
I can't speak in daddy's perspective. We might have them on the show one of these days, y'all, but but I can't speak in his perspective, because again, everybody has their own views and perspectives.
Exactly.
So I can only talk
Exactly.
about me, and y'all already know, because we already talked about how we married and got a kid. So y'all already know he visible, he's real. But but that's what I'm trying to do, for my kids, and build these relationships.
Mm-hmm.
But also, they're able to pick and choose their relationships when they go out in the real world, and what they like find in, if somebody being truthful or if they being fake. They will
Mm-hmm.
be able to know, okay, well, I ain't messing with you,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm gonna kick it with you.
Right.
So it
Right.
comes full circle.
It does come full circle. And I'm even trying, like, with my sisters, because like I was just talking with my sister right next to me. We're 4 years apart. 'Cause like I said, I'm the oldest. So I was talking to her and I was like, I want to do, like, a sisters trip next year. I'm like, I want to do a trip where all four of us, because my youngest sister, she lives in California. So, we really don't
Hmm.
see her because she's over there. So I'm like, I would like to do a trip where all four of us just go somewhere and it's just us, the girls, and, do
I say
something.
that too.
Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
just to keep our bonds, together as our
Mm-hmm.
sister, like you said, nieces and nephews and stuff. My youngest sister doesn't have kids yet, but you know the two underneath me do. So it's like we're just trying to keep that bond going, and like you said,
Yes.
because I want the kids, their cousins, to be close, and just have that have that closeness, that bond with their cousins. I like seeing them play together and stuff. It kind of reminds me of me, growing up, because we would go like to the cookouts and stuff. But for us, that was the only time we really saw my cousins, is when we went like to gatherings. Whereas with my
Exactly.
kids, I won't they see their cousins on a regular basis because we're just around each other,
The
so their
typical
bond is
black people.
stronger.
The
Right.
typical black people
Yeah,
style.
like we all
Weddings,
y'all cousin
funerals,
get-togethers, right? Weddings, funerals, cookouts, but my
and
kids is
what's the other thing? Reunions.
it could be a
Like,
Wednesday. They'd be like, "Come on, let's go see my cousins." I'd be like, "All right, come on, we gonna go see them,"
right.
So,
Yeah, so it's crazy. So I don't
mhm,
know. I just try, and if as long as I know I'm trying, that's all that matters.
exactly.
That's all
Because
that
it gotta be
matters.
effort. It gotta be effort from both sides. Like they gotta be trying too. It can't just be you.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-mm.
And
Like
for
you said, it comes with
piggybacking,
maturity though, and putting
yes.
they personal feelings, about you or whatever to the side, and focusing on your kids
The
having that bond.
kids. Mm-hmm.
Because they
And
don't
we
have to
were
have the same
close.
relationship that y'all have.
Yeah, and and we were close. That's what I don't understand. Like we were close growing up. Yeah, we
Mm-hmm.
may bicker back and forth and stuff like that, but we still was like, okay, at the end of the day, we saying, sorry or whatever, and we still playing together. Just like my
Right.
kids be doing. But that's I be trying to avoid that because that's a trigger for me. I'm like, oh my God, this
Yeah.
is what I used to do. And I do remember those things. Like when we look at them, we're like, oh my God, it's us. Then I even try to make pacts with each other, like, yeah, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. And piggybacking off what you're talking about as far as the trips, I said that too, and I even included mom in there, and she'd be like, no, I ain't going without whatever. I said, Mom, this is a your kids trip. Like you
Mhm.
have to go just with us. Like we not adding nobody else with it. Like I be
Right.
trying to put bonds and stuff in perspective and love on my family and stuff like that, but
Mhm.
they just set in their ways, and I can't, first of all, I'm not going to deal with it, and I can't do it, like, and I can't be fake.
Because I mean, it could be too much. Like you're like you said, you're trying, but if they're not trying because they set in their own ways, that makes it hard. So it's like,
It does, and you just gotta dust it off your shoulder
yeah, because
and
the
move
mental
on.
the mental piece, that's the most important thing. So,
That it is. That's the most important thing, because if you keep dwelling on it, keep thinking about it, it's going to tear you down.
mm-hmm,
And how is life going to go on?
mm-hmm,
And what are you saying for your kids? They
right.
gonna look at that and be like, damn, what the hell's wrong with mom? My daughter, she said the other day, she was like, Mom, you did your makeup? And I was like, yeah. She was like, oh, one day I'm gonna do it for you. And I ain't trying to have that to be the top. When I'm down and out. When I'm down and out and she looking, I'm looking, we looking crazy. And she's like, Mom, come on, I got to get your makeup together. And how's that gonna they're gonna be like, I have never saw my mom like this. Like, no, we gotta get up and keep it moving.
Mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm.
know,
No matter what,
you
keep it
gotta,
moving.
no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Definitely.
it's just crazy.
It definitely is, but that's why, like I said, this episode was about us, about the moms, but and I think it was just important to focus that on us because, like I said, we put so much into our kids, and we wear so many different hats, capes, whatever you want to call it, like vests, whatever you want, like so many different things. We're mom, we're daughter,
So
sister, friend,
many.
niece, like everything. So it's like
Hmm.
wearing those different hats and playing those different roles. It definitely can be exhausting after a while.
Yeah, because that all ties into, you know, prioritizing,
Mm-hmm.
and getting things done, being consistent, time management,
Mm-hmm.
independent. I can keep going on. It all ties into, moms and how we make it happen. We
Mm-hmm.
straight up make it happen, because if it's not for the mom, where these kids coming from?
Exactly. Okay.
I
Because
don't
I
want no
always say that
AI
if we
kids.
had to carry babies, it would be no, it would be no babies.
Okay.
You don't
Yeah,
even
because
understand
like
everything we have to go through for that process alone. Okay.
a
Outside of
lot. And
raising
that's
them.
why we That's why we gotta build this village one way or another to be
Mm-hmm.
raising our healthy kids,
Mm-hmm.
healthy mental kids. You know, because I say mental all the time is because
Mm-hmm.
we want to talk about that and down the line, but your mental state and therapy and all that type of stuff, we're going to touch based on that because that is what some people need, but it's not a bad thing. It's always be
It's
a good
never a bad
thing.
thing.
It's never.
A
Some
bad
people
thing.
look at it that way, because they don't understand the
Mm-hmm.
root of why it's called therapy.
And I think sometimes I think people shy away from it because in general they don't want to dig, they don't want to deal with their emotions, they don't want to deal with the
Yes.
past traumas and really work through them. They rather just,
Yep.
it's always in the back of your mind, you're always thinking about it because that's why you move the way you move or act the way you act.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
there, but you don't want to deal with it in the forefront. So that's why they put off therapy. But you
Hmm.
got to think like this is somebody that's giving you an unbiased opinion. They're giving you tools to help guide you through life. And like I said, it's unbiased. They're coming in they're on the outside looking in. So there's no judgment there.
Yes.
You're speaking your
Yes.
truth, which is your truth to do. And, they're just listening and giving you advice and giving you tools. So I think, for people who shy away from it, if you feel like you need it, do it because you never know. Like at
Right.
least give it a try. If you feel like it's not for you, then it's not for you. Or, sometimes you might not click with the right therapist. You might have to
I was going to say that part.
search different
Yeah,
ones
make
until you
sure they
find
right.
one that aligns with
Yeah.
you. But I
Yes.
think it's definitely important to seek therapy, and not shy away from it because you never know. Like that could definitely change everything in your life, not just your outlook,
Mhm.
but how you move, how you build your relationships going forward. Like it can,
Mhm.
help shape and change all of that for you if you just give it a try.
Yeah, just give it a try. And again, that's what, makes us, the moms that we are because we're trying different things. We're trying to do things differently from how we grew up. And if you don't know how to do it on your own, all you got to do is seek some guidance.
Yep.
Just seek
Use
some
those
some
resources.
guidance. And
Yep.
and we touched a little bit about, basically, how why these relationships are important, as far as that. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why, because it's you're bringing in more little people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
You
they're
bringing in
watching
a
you. They ain't just listening. They're watching you, how you move, how your
yep,
relationship is with your parents and friends and siblings. They're watching it. So they don't
yep.
just go by off of what you say. They go by what you do too.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I do. I mainly worry about what I do. Yes, I preach and I talk to them and things like that, but they're going to remember these conversations too when they get older too. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not about, you know, how you talk. Well, it is about it's not what you say, it's how you say it, basically. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. It's not what you that you talk so much and you do all of this because at the end of the day, when they don't understanding it right now, because they're so young, but one day they will. And I always talk to my kids like this, and I say, and one day when you thinking about a certain situation, you're gonna be like, you know what, mom taught me about that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or they in a different situation. Mom taught me about that. So, but again, I'm not saying their dad don't talk to them about anything, but this episode is about the moms. I just want to clear that
Exactly.
up because I know
Exactly.
y'all gonna be like, but what about the dad? Y'all ain't saying nothing about the husband. No, it's about the moms today. It's about the moms, okay? So anyway, since we left y'all on that positivity note,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna see y'all in episode 3, okay?
Yes.
And then make sure y'all tap in to episode 1 because that's going to give y'all everything what y'all need to hit us up on our social. Right,
Yes.
Niche?
Yes. And the socials will be posted to this video at the end, so you'll be able to see it. And make sure y'all subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or was it X now? Listen, it's still gonna be
Yes.
Twitter for me, okay? But
All
follow
these
me.
name changes, it's hard to keep
Okay.
up. Y'all just make sure y'all tune in and keep getting the nitty-gritty going on. But also hit that subscribe button, okay? Hit that subscribe.
Definitely.
Subscribe,
And don't
subscribe.
forget to email us. Like if there's any topics you want us to touch on, any questions y'all want us to answer, like
Yes.
please email us. We are more than happy and
Email
willing to answer any
us.
questions on any topics y'all want to talk about. Definitely hit us
Yes,
up.
email us. Definitely. So
Hmm.
anyway, Again, it's Life and with Keish and Niche, and I'm Keish.
Yes, I'm Niche, and
And
see you
we'll
next
see y'all episode. See
time.
y'all.